Do you want to have a normal life or do you want to have an extraordinary life? If you want to have an extraordinary life, which means a life that's designed by you, which includes a high quality relationship to an amazing woman, your future girlfriend or wife, you have to be willing to do extraordinary things. You can't expect yourself to do what everybody else is doing and then get different results. You can't expect to just go to work, go to the gym, hang out with your friends and your family every now and then expect to find an amazing woman. How is that supposed to work? A high quality relationship is an extraordinary outcome. And if you want that, it's absolutely easily possible to achieve 100%, but it requires extraordinary action. Now, the good thing is, extraordinary in our society doesn't actually mean something crazy, like climbing the Mount Everest. That's way more extraordinary. But to be extraordinary, you can even just learn to approach. We've talked about online dating at length, but even just doing an approach, respectful, kind, calibrated, and then communicate your personality authentically and effectively to exchange contact details, meet up for a date, and then go into a relationship, that in and of itself is already extraordinary because it's extraordinary, because most men will never do it. So simply by venturing out and expanding your comfort zone, leaving the zone of comfort, going into the zone of growth, not overwhelm, but into the zone of growth and challenge, you are already doing extraordinary things, and thereby you become worthy of extraordinary results. Because whether we're worthy of an amazing relationship or not has nothing to do with our worth as a human being. Our worth as a human being is untouchable. In German we have a saying, die Würde des Menschen ist unantastbar. The dignity of a human being is untouchable. And that's fine. But that's not really practical now, is it? Because Tony Robbins says it's not about the value of your soul, but the value of you in the marketplace. It's about the value of you in the dating marketplace. And if that's not communicated, you can be super valuable in the dating market. You can be a man who's got great things going for him, who's really kind, caring, intelligent, hardworking, got a good career, good business. If you don't communicate it, if you don't put that offer in front of people, how's she supposed to find out about that? And if she's not going to find out, well, there's no chance for anything to ever occur. So what I'd like you to do is do what most people don't to get the results most people don't have. And make no mistake about it. A high quality, loving, playful, romantic, intimate relationship is indeed an extraordinary result. How many people do you actually know? How many men do you actually know that are in truly fulfilling relationships? Not just in a relationship, but in truly fulfilling relationships where they're appreciated, they have mutual respect and admiration for one another. Probably zero. Because just the fact that somebody's in a relationship doesn't mean it's a high quality relationship. Anybody can be in a relationship, but if the only parameter for success were the fact that they are together, well, then plenty of people would be successful, but we know plenty of people who are miserable. Most men live lives of quiet desperation because they're in a relationship with somebody because they have to stay together for the children, which is absolute utter nonsense. Because remember, your children will mimic your unhappiness more so, careful over here, than the individual words that come out of your mouth. So if you know somebody, it's probably very few people who actually have that, where they can both be carefree in their expression, have a degree of mutual admiration, where he's truly respected and desired as opposed to just merely tolerated, which is exactly what most men experience, which is exactly what I experienced with my ex-wife. Since that's a fact, it is an extraordinary result. It is not a normal thing to have a high quality relationship. Could most people have it? Absolutely. Pardon me. Could most people be in great shape? Absolutely. Are most people? No. Why? Mindset. 80% is mindset. And one of the ways in which your mind has to be set in order to achieve that is to understand this. You have to become worthy of a result like this by doing the difficult things, by putting yourself out there and by overcoming approach anxiety, by learning how to create a hook point in a conversation, communicate with emotional relevance. It is just a skill set. You're not born with that. I'm not born with that. Yeah, some people are a little bit more natural. Some men are amazingly looking. For them, it's easier to create initial attraction. But there's plenty of really good looking men who mess it up later down the line because they don't understand frames. They don't understand the social dynamics of attraction and connection. So, venture out there. You see somebody you'd like to introduce yourself to, go do it. But don't expect yourself to be able to do a spontaneous approach if you haven't done a lot in sequence. You're not going to be able to just do it. You have to go, most men. Some people are going to be able to do it, fine. Most men, just like me, you're going to have to go through a process of progressive desensitization. You expose yourself to the threatening stimuli, which is called the rejection, or what people think around me when they see me introduce myself to this lady in Starbucks. What is the old lady who was standing in the queue with me gonna think if I introduce myself to this lady who was standing in the queue with me and I ask her, excuse me 2 seconds, have you tried the Frappuccino Maca Chaca Latte? You like that?
Is that even a thing?
I don't know, a Frappuccino or something. And you ask her that, and then you start a conversation. What is this old lady going to think? If I get a rejection? Well, if it goes well, great, but what if? Well, think it through. What if it happens? Yeah, up the stairs again. If it happens, what then? Absolutely nothing. Your life will continue just as before. But your brain thinks you're going to die. Your brain thinks you will die if you get a rejection, because you have to understand that hundreds of thousands of years ago, when we as human beings lived in tribes of 100 to 200 people, there was one alpha male, one tribal leader. And if you were to approach a random female in the tribe, you don't know whether she's not one of the women of the alpha male, and you approach her, maybe even successfully so, and then you get killed in the middle of the night with a stone. That's the fear you have. We're all we're all descendants of ancestors who are, one, worried about what people think, and second, who are very cautious when it comes to approaching women, because you don't know what the tribal ramifications of that are. And keep in mind, another reason why you fear rejection, it's completely normal that you have that fear, you can just desensitize yourself to it. Another reason you have it is we as human beings realize that we need the tribe to be able to survive, because if we get kicked out of the tribe, then we lose our ability to go hunt with other men, to get protection from other men, to pass on our genetic legacy to female members of the tribe. So even if we don't die, our genetic legacy dies. So that's why we care about the customs, norms, and traditions. In other words, what people think of us. Completely normal, and to an extent it's very healthy. Up until it isn't. Up until a point of diminishing returns. So, same with internal pressure. Oh, I feel a lot of pressure. Well, pressure is good, it moves you into action. Until it becomes overwhelming, then you need to decrease pressure. Everything, most things in life, have utility up until a point of diminishing returns, and you just got to subjectively evaluate when that point has been reached and then make changes accordingly. But if you just approach enough in a respectful, kind way, and if she's not interested, you leave her alone immediately, and you just go through this horrible thing, you're like, oh, it's actually not that bad. You're going to feel a lot of disgusting and weird emotions, trust me. Getting a rejection in the beginning isn't nice. But at some point, if you get enough of them, you realize it means absolutely nothing. And you just don't feel anything anymore. You just won't feel anything. It'll just disappear. Now, in fairness, most men, most of you, if you just want to find a high quality relationship, right? I say just, but like, because it's so easy actually. If you do it the right way, it's actually a really easy thing to do. Then you're never going to do enough approaches to have zero approach anxiety. But you can get to 10-20% approach anxiety of what it originally was, to where it won't matter anymore, to where you can feel the emotion, but it won't dictate your actions. Because in modern personal development, if you Google or YouTube search motivation, people say, fuck your emotions. It doesn't matter how you feel. Do what's right anyway. Fair enough, but that only works if the emotions aren't too strong. We've all felt so angry, so frustrated, so sad, so stressed, so down, depressed, that we weren't even able to have constructive thoughts and that we weren't able to get ourselves there. Now, is that a lack of discipline? No, the emotions were just so strong. It's also called state-dependent memory. If the mood of the emotional state is so strong, we're not even able to access competent thoughts. So we need to change our emotions first. Here is the best piece of advice that I've ever heard. Most people say, I'll do it despite my emotions. Doesn't matter how I feel. If I don't feel like it, doesn't matter, I'm just gonna do it. Here's a better piece of advice, super advanced. I will make myself feel like it. Now, if your emotions are just a little bit bad, you just have a little bit of approaching anxiety, you're going to be able to do it. But if it's a lot, if it's subjectively too much, well, then you won't be able to do it. So you have to make yourself feel like it, so you change your state, which is something that we help our clients with, for example. When we do in-person events or through online coaching, we change their mindset and we change their emotions together. And then all of a sudden, they're in a more competent and resourceful emotional state to where they're able to take action. And that's why it transpires into so many more areas, not just dating. You make yourself feel like doing it. If you're in a powerful mental and emotional state, then the biggest challenge doesn't even seem so big anymore. The same problem can be super overwhelming or just like a little bit of a annoyance depending on your mental and emotional state. That's why you have to learn to master that. It is absolutely vital. Go to the gym. You know you're neurologically not the same person before and after you go to the gym. When you spend time with high quality male friends, do you feel stronger or weaker afterwards? Absolutely you feel stronger. Have you ever had that where you might have an issue in your life? And then after an hour and a half or several hours of hanging out with your friends, if you don't consume any drugs, you feel a lot stronger and the problem doesn't seem so threatening anymore? Yeah! It's because you get oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin and your testosterone goes up. Whichever particular neurotransmitter happens to be activated and released in your brain. I'm not an expert, but it feels good, doesn't it? Change the way you walk. Doesn't mean you have to walk around. You know, Conor McGregor through the octagon. I think it's awesome. It's cool. And it's definitely powerful. But Gunther Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, says, how you're going, that's how it's going. How you're going, that's how it's going. The way you walk, whether you walk like this or like this, that makes a difference in how you feel. How do you speak? How much certainty do you have in your voice? That doesn't mean you have to be super loud. You can be totally calm and soft-spoken and still have a lot of certainty behind your voice, because how you speak is not just an expression of how you feel, it also primes a either more empowering or disempowering mental and emotional state. Hypnosis doesn't mean somebody turns you into a rabbit on a stage in front of hundreds of people. No, but hypnosystemic therapy, according to Gunther Schmidt, or just hypnosis, hypnotherapy, puts you in a trance. But we're always in a trance, we're always in a certain mental and emotional state. We may be more or less aware of the emotions that are going on inside of us, but your mindset, the way your mind is set, depends on your thoughts and your emotions, that's it. And you have control over them. That's what I want you to understand. Don't be a victim to temporary negative emotions. But no, we can't just say, oh, you have approach anxiety, just go do the approach anyway. Sometimes it works. But sometimes we need to change your emotions first. What do you do? Well, one of the simplest things in terms of a behavioral change, come over here please, there's a couple coming, is you just go step by step. In the beginning, maybe even just eye contact might be too much for you. Just hold eye contact with people. Then you walk by and you say, hello. Hi. And you introduce yourself and you're nice and you share a little bit of respectful positivity. That's great. Maybe you'll approach a man and you say, hey, really nice to meet you. Like that leather jacket. I've done this with men in bars and clubs where I see a guy walking by and he has a sick leather jacket. I'm like, bro, it looks amazing. Really, really cool jacket. He's like, oh, wow, really nice. We were in London recently with a couple of clients and we went to this club. And one of our guys, one of the clients didn't have ID with him and he lives there. No idea how he managed to forget that. So we were about to not get in. We paid 30 euros per person, or pounds, even more, to get in, which is a lot, obviously. And so we were about to not get in. So I'm talking to the security guy, who's really nice. By the way, I've done this stuff, talking to people and being nice to people, before I've ever realized the tactical value. I just like talking to people. I just truly, truly enjoy that. Just be careful there behind you. Walk on the right side, please. And so I was talking to the security guy, partially to distract him from the fact that my friend didn't have ID, but also just because I always like doing this. So I asked him, hey man, what's going on? Where are you from? He goes, Tunisia. Oh, I went to Djerba in 2011, I believe it was. August, really? Yeah, I've been to Tataouine, you know where Star Wars was. Amazing, we've been to the markets. I had a 25-second interaction with him. Afterwards, he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, have a good night, enjoy yourself. He felt seen as a person. Just because I created a little bit of emotional relevance. And yeah, that was tactical in a sense, because I wanted my friend and my client to get into the club with us. Obviously, by the way, you don't have to go to clubs. It's completely not necessary. It was like a bar more so than a club, really. Kind of both. Bars are better to go out at night. Clubs are completely unnecessary if you want to find the right person. Or you can just approach in person, or you can just do online dating, right? There's a million different ways. You pick whichever one works best for you. Anyway, that's what we were doing at that point in time. But I did all of that years before I ever ventured into dating and personal development. Even when I was still with my ex-wife and I had no idea about any of this, I would be in a supermarket, I'd be in university, I'd be talking to a guy in a supermarket who's working there just because I went shopping. I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? Turns out he's from Venezuela. We talk one time, the next time I go, we talk again. We become friends just because he worked in the supermarket. I had no intention, no agenda. And he just invited me to his place. And there was a bunch of people from Latin America and Spain and France and Italy. I probably could have dated, I was just too stupid. In other words, I just didn't have the skill set. And I was in a really unfulfilling relationship that was about to turn into an even worse marriage at the time. That would have had benefits. Don't do it with the idea to get something out of it, right? Yes, it'll have benefits, but just share a little bit of positivity. Just have a little bit of, boom, the intent to put good karma out there. Intent is gonna win. We're all selfish, 100%, but we're also all selfless. We have both. Some people have more of one than the other. The more you nurture, the better it gets. So like this idea that you have the good wolf and the bad wolf in you. Which one is going to win? Whichever one you feed. We all have the dark and the light in us. Which one is going to win? Whichever one you feed. So if you want to progressively desensitize yourself, you say hello, you give men a compliment, then you might start talking to women you don't find necessarily that attractive. Just say hello, quick little interaction, and then maybe you put a little bit of intent behind it. Then maybe you ask for a number in the end. You just build it step by step. Anything seems overwhelming if you skip 7 levels. Being able to walk up to a random woman in the middle of the day or in a Starbucks or in a shopping mall or even in a bar and saying, excuse me just a second, you're really cute. I had to come meet you. Excuse me just a second, you have amazing posture. Excuse me just a second, you have the cutest facial expressions. Excuse me just a second, I saw your face from all the way over there. It's really, really cute. That might be overwhelming. That's a direct approach plus intent. That's very high. The only thing that's really more difficult than that is like a woman, a girl with her friend and a group of people. These are the only levels. But it's really high. If you imagine a pyramid, that's already very high. Don't put the pressure on yourself of expecting yourself to be able to do that. Some men are going to be able to do that, some won't. There's nothing wrong with going through a process of progressively desensitizing yourself to that. But you have to do it. It's an extraordinary thing. Most men will never do it. Most men are full of shit. They'll say, oh, I could go talk to her if I really want to do. Really? Go do it. Go. Do the approach. Oh, you know, she has headphones in. Her male best friend is there. These are friends. She's serious. I don't want to interrupt her. Be nice. Be kind. If she doesn't want to speak with you, you can leave her alone instantaneously. Most men are full of it. If you're not in a relationship and you're not approaching during the day or at night or whichever scenario you feel fit, not a social circle, it is either because you haven't overcome your approach anxiety or because you haven't developed the skill set. And there is a skill component to it. You can learn that. There are free resources out there. There's a coaching program. There's a million different things you can use. We have a podcast. We have these YouTube videos, 2,000 to 3,000 short form videos, just that we have free. If you want to take it to the next level, if you want to shortcut it, if you want us to help you personally, apply for a free initial consultation call, absolutely do that. But you have to do it. You're not going to get around it. Online dating is amazing. As I said, 60% to 70% of my clients-ish find their girlfriend, their wife through online dating. And that's amazing. But you will not have the highest quality relationship if you don't go through approaches. You cannot just hide yourself behind the screen. It's really both. If you think you can just, yes, you can get most of your dates online dating through Hinge. We'll build a profile with you. We'll show you all of that. It's amazing. It's absolutely genius. We've done this hundreds of times before because we've seen the patterns. Your profile sucks. Your texting sucks. We can help you with that, no problem. And you can get fantastic dates from online dating. But frame, congruence tests, hook points, emotional relevance, these are all things that you will learn in interactions with women. Because every approach you do, if it's not an instant rejection, some of them are going to be, some of them are going to hurt, some are going to be painful, most of them are going to be kind of nice. But ones that go on for 30 seconds to a minute or two, they're mini dates. And you don't even know what you truly want in a relationship if you haven't even exposed yourself. Do what's extraordinary to get the extraordinary result. Ultimately, it comes down to how you define yourself as a man. Are you the guy who's just average? Or are you somebody who goes for what most people won't? I will do what most people won't do because I want the results most people won't have. And a truly loving, fulfilling relationship is an extraordinary result. You can absolutely have it. But are you going to get it? It's absolutely available for you. It's right there for you for the taking. But it won't be if you don't define yourself as somebody who's willing to do the thing. Because you have to hit certain key KPIs. Approaches, Instagram messages, messages on dating apps. Or you'll just settle. Fine. Gotta be with somebody who I'm not that physically attracted to. My values don't really match, it's fine. My children are probably gonna grow up hating me because their father is a fucking cuck. Because he can't communicate his needs. Because he has a constant fear of loss. Because he hasn't chosen his wife from a variety of different options, but he just stumbled into it. And then he lives the life of quiet desperation. You can do that, no problem. Nobody forces you to be truly happy. But I would love for you to be totally happy. The reason I care is because I've been there and I've suffered. And I've seen the suffering with my ex-wife. I know what it's like to be in an absolutely terrible relationship. Not because the other person is bad, but not because the other person is toxic. Yeah, maybe the other person is a bit difficult. But because the relationship doesn't meet her needs or yours. That's a miserable way to live. If you're not happy in your intimate relationship, you are not happy. Get it? Dating can be super easy and fulfilling. It's a fun process. It doesn't have to be another burden that I gotta brush my teeth, gotta go to the gym, gotta eat right, gotta get the finances right, all that stuff. It's not just another chore. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's gonna make you more productive. It's gonna make you feel more alive. You'll truly sense abundance. It's something that I want for you so deeply. But the choice is yours.